I welcome everyone for this LinkedIn Live on the next leap in quantum computing. I'm Kasturi, Research Director with ASD Division of Everest Group. Today, my colleagues Manshu Matre, Arjun Mehta, Kalyani Devrukar, we will be discussing about the next set of advancements in quantum computing. All of us are based out of India, and now I would like to invite my team members to very quickly introduce themselves.
Hello everyone. My name is Himanshu Matre, and I'm a senior analyst working with the Advanced SciTech team in the Everest Group. And I'm specifically associated with electronics and ICT domain, and I have been doing research in quantum computing for the past couple of years.
Hello, I'm Arjun Mehta. I am a research manager for the Advanced SciTech team in the Everest Group, and I specialize in ICT technologies with a strong focus on quantum computing, AI inferencing, and semiconductors. Also, just hello everyone, welcome to this live session. And once again, it would be interesting to know to just drop in chat where you guys are joining from. Okay, yeah, Kalyani.
Hello everyone, this is Kalyani Devrukar. I'm working as a senior analyst with the AST division of Everest Group. I have around 10 years of experience in the ICT and electronics field, and I've been tracking quantum technologies since past 2 years. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, team. So we are going to discuss about some opportunities with respect to quantum computing. What we are going to cover today is some key challenges in quantum computing, the need for fault-tolerant quantum computers, movers and shakers in the industry, funding and investment scenario, and some commercial applications, and what is going to be the road ahead for error-free computing. So why error-free computing? What we see is massive amounts of data are being used in high performance computing, data centers, and AI. And all of these applications actually demand high computational power, and many of these technologies are emerging to address the particular need, which is the need for high performance computing or for data centers and AI, that is computational power. So one of the technologies which we see today, which is gaining a lot of momentum, is quantum computing. And this is basically, it has got high computational power by leveraging quantum bits, which is the qubits. And this is based on exploiting superposition, entanglement, interference, which can actually solve problems that are difficult with classical computers. But what is actually hindering the practical application part of it? We see that quantum processors are noisy and error prone, and this is limiting its ability to perform meaningful computations. So the industry participants are actually heading in terms of a lot of innovations to develop fault-tolerant quantum computers, which are nothing but machines capable of performing stable quantum operations, which is error-free, which is caused due to challenges like decoherence or quantum noise and so on. So there are two broad techniques that we have classified: error suppression and error correction. And each of these are having a lot of innovations, which is towards realizing the full scale fault tolerant quantum computers. So under the error suppression category, what we see is the quantum decoherence as a major challenge, which is happening at the hardware level. And I would like to invite my colleague Himanshu Matre to share some perspectives about what sort of innovations we are seeing and how companies are basically trying to address this particular challenge.
Thank you, Kasturi, for this crisp introduction about quantum computers. So before I answer to your question on decoherence, I would quickly like to highlight what is error suppression and correction, as you mentioned, so that the audience knows exactly what I'm talking about. So the industry largely employs two broad techniques to reduce the errors. One is suppression, where an effort to prevent the error is made before it arises. And the other one is error correction, where the errors are detected and corrected after they occur. So when we see this from the perspective of suppression, you rightly said that decoherence is the most critical challenge which is faced by companies which are developing fault-tolerant quantum computing. So decoherence, in short, is something wherein there is a loss of quantum information due to unwanted interactions with the surrounding environment. So one of the major contributors to decoherence is the material defects, particularly in the superconducting qubits and solid-state spin qubits. companies are employing novel fabrication techniques to enhance these, enhance the coherence of these qubits.
Okay. So interesting. So are there any material related innovations which are being carried out to address the issue of material defects which is coming through decoherence?
Yes, yes. So tantalum-based material has emerged as a superior material among companies such as Amazon and IBM to overcome this kind of material issues. So major reason why this material is used because the traditionally used material, which is niobium-based superconducting material, this has been used for qubits for a long time, but this material has a very short coherence time in the range of around 10 to 100 microseconds, which again depends on the purity, the architecture, or even the cryogenic environment that it is based in. But this tantalum based material, uh, it is used because the native oxide layer or the native chemical layer in that is very stable and less noisy, which again helps in reducing energy dissipation and absorption, and hence it is quite stable. Just to demonstrate about this material, IBM has demonstrated this tantalum based qubits and has achieved uh, coherence time which exceeds more than 500 microseconds. So this is a significant improvement over the currently used niobium based qubits. There is one more innovative material which Microsoft has recently used in their Majorna 1 chip. I guess most of you must be knowing this chip since it created headlines last month for using new architecture and new material. So this chip, it uses topological qubits, which are made up of special materials called as topoconductor materials. These qubits use the topology of the material to store quantum information, which makes it more stable as compared to the traditionally used material.
Mhm. So very interesting insights, Himanshu. So in order to address the material defects which is arising due to decoherence, we're talking about qubit materials, right? And I think from my perspective, there is also another technique which can be used for addressing the particular issue of decoherence, the enhanced quantum control technique, which is the decoherence quantum control theory. And what we say is this particular theory is the new Moore's law for qubit performance. So just as classical computing has progressed through better transistor control, what we see is the next leap in quantum computing is going to come from radical advances in qubit control techniques and not just from materials is what I feel. Do you agree with this point? What are your perspectives?
I completely agree with you on this, Kasturi. The future of quantum computing won't just be defined by better materials, but how well we can control these qubits at the software and hardware level. So just as transistor miniaturization reached a point in traditional semiconductors industry, and then control engineering took center stage. Similarly, quantum systems will need radical advancements in qubit control technologies to overcome this issue of decoherence. So leading quantum computing companies and research teams are leveraging AI-driven pulse shaping to push the boundaries of coherence times and achieve qubit performances.
Very interesting. So are there any specific companies that you can think about who's working in this area?
Yes. So if I think about one of the technique that is AI-driven pulse shaping, so companies like IBM Quantum, Google, and even startups like Quantum Machines, they are using machine learning to design the optimized qubit control pulses, which help in minimize errors and suppress decoherence. Researchers are also developing AI-driven reinforcement learning algorithms to find the most efficient gate sequences to reduce cumulative gate errors and extend the coherence time of these qubits. At this point in time, one of the best examples that I could give is IBM's Qiskit Pulse, which is a pulse level quantum programming kit. So this programming kit, what it does is it optimizes microwave pulse shapes and reduces error rates in superconducting qubits. One more important technique other than AI driven pulse shaping is dynamic decoupling. Again, this is the technique which is used which the companies are using started using heavily to reduce the errors. But this particular technique, it applies series of precisely timed pulses to refocus the qubit states and suppress the induced noise. Companies like IonQ and Quantinum, they both are using this robust dynamic decoupling technique. So yes, while materials like tantalum and silicon qubits try to improve the coherence at hardware level, but I think the real battle will be won through control techniques, because I think the development times of developing new materials is quite higher as compared to developing techniques which are, software based or control level techniques. And that is the reason I feel that, the companies which master qubit control as a software problem will likely be the ones who, will unlock the large scale fault tolerant quantum computing first.
Okay, so does that mean AI-driven qubit control is going to be more prominent in the future years compared to the
Yes,
previous year?
even for that matter, dynamic decoupling.
Very interesting, very interesting. So these are from error suppression techniques. What about error correction? We see that like error correction is also going to have a significant role in fault tolerant quantum computers, right? And without quantum error correction code, like achieving error rates of even below like 10 power minus 3 or 10 power minus 4 for realizing practical quantum algorithms is going to be difficult with just qubits alone, right? And this is going to be the fundamental block of building a fault tolerant quantum computer in the future. But I think with respect to quantum error correction techniques, I find there are like a couple of challenges which are majorly due to qubit overhead and also crosstalk and noise. Do you think the industry is also focusing on this part of quantum error correction? Are there any solutions and innovations which are prominent? Any specific stakeholders would you like to, are working in this
Yes,
area? What are your
yes, yes.
thoughts?
You are absolutely right about quantum error correction, because you can have suppression as an option since it is a preventive technique. But if you want to eliminate all the errors, then error correction is necessary in my point of view. But yes, you rightly pointed out that error correction should not come at a cost of computing resources. Just to give you a reference, the currently, widely used technique, which is surface codes, they require around 1,000 physical qubits to create a single error-free logical qubit. So this is what high qubit overhead means. But to overcome this, companies have begun using something called as low density parity checkpoints. So these significantly reduce the number of physical qubits which are required to, make a logical qubit. Just to give you a quick scale, as compared to surface codes, which is 1,000:1 ratio, low density parity check codes, they, just require 100 physical qubits to make a single logical error free qubit. So such is the, reduction in the scale by using low density parity check codes. Companies like Quantum and IBM, these are using this kind of techniques. IBM has even gone further by using, hybrid technique, wherein it is exploring implementing a surface code along with low density parity check codes architecture to improve the qubit efficiency.
Interesting, interesting. So this is from the qubit overhead point of view. What about crosstalk? Are there companies working in this space?
Yes. So for crosstalk, I mean, it what it does is it starts contaminating information from the neighboring qubits. This is what happens during the crosstalk errors. So companies are betting high on hardware-aware quantum error correction. So instead of forcing a fixed surface code, companies like Google, they are implementing quantum error correction codes that match real-time noise characteristics of that hardware. For example, if a qubit crosstalk is high, a hardware-aware quantum error correction algorithm might select a color code instead of a surface code, as it, better handles that correlated error. So by customizing error correction to the actual hardware, companies can significantly reduce the crosstalk related noise and thus improve the logical qubit lifetime.
Interesting. So we mean to say that in order to address all these challenges, there are different techniques, not just one method, and each of it has got its own advantages and disadvantages. So, but what I think is, in order to have a practical realization, there should be other strategic initiatives also, right? Like we have to see what is happening from an R&D and funding perspective. Like I have one of my colleagues, Arjun Mehta, who can share some insights on this area. But before we get his perspectives, I would like to mention, there is a complementary access to the article on problem solving using quantum annealing technique. And if anybody is interested to have access to this article, there is a link in the chat that people can click onto it and have access. Thank you. So, Arjun, what are your thoughts about how the industry is looking at from a funding and investment perspective? We have discussed about a lot of challenges, some interesting techniques that Himanshu mentioned, and major players like IBM working towards different aspects of addressing these challenges. What is your take on the funding part?
Well, first of all, Kasturi, I would say thank you very much for touching upon this aspect. It's a very critical aspect for building fault-tolerant quantum computers at a large scale. Okay, and before we go ahead, I have one more short question for the audience, for the viewers, and you can take some time to answer this. It is, if you could ask a quantum computer any question and get an instant answer, what would you ask? Okay, so if, like my colleague Himanshu mentioned, that it is about achieving the quantum supremacy and parallel computing. So if we can get an instant answer, what would be that one question that we can ask right now? You can drop it in the comments. Okay, so Kasturi, coming to back to your question. The other day I analyzed a funding database, okay, for last 3 years, and it covered around 150 funding rounds from 100 plus quantum companies across the globe. Can you guess the amount? Like, I examined it further, and the findings were very interesting. More than 3.5 billion US dollars were funded for this, for building fault tolerant quantum computer. Isn't that like enormous, right? But that is a massive sign that the investors are getting serious about fault tolerant quantum computing, and it is not only in within the labs anymore, it is going beyond the labs. So that's a good sign. And one particular trend that I want to highlight here is, there have been many technologies that we have been seeing and fading away, but what stands out for this technology, particularly quantum computing, is that it is a global race. Like, predominantly we see the US or China leading in some technology and taking some major initiatives, major funding coming from that. But that is not the case for quantum computing. 42% of funding has come from North America, predominantly the US, but also we have seen more than 20% of funding coming from the European region, and UK alone has secured more than 10% of the total funds. So it's not any particular country led motion over here. It is truly a global race.
Wow. So you mean to say quantum computing is just starting to move beyond the lab, right? Like with all these funding activities happening, a lot of innovations trying to address the fundamental challenges and the move towards fault tolerant or error free computing. Any specific technologies? Because we discussed a lot of techniques previously, and like I would like to basically understand or on specific technology areas the money is being pumped into.
Yeah, so the most research technology, if you ask me about a qubit, is the quantum qubit, is superconducting qubits. Okay, so that has, as always, witnessed a steady funding. Roughly around 25% of $3.5 billion have been invested into superconducting qubit development area. However, last year, 2024, has been special because we have seen a lot of funding going into new technologies. And two technologies I want to highlight here is photonic based qubit approach, which has gained a lot of traction in the last year, and also silicon based spin qubits, right? So, I mean, the investors and the innovators are, they're coming together to make sure that we can scale this quantum computing technology beyond just like classical computing technologies that we have today. And to scale, it is necessary that we have some infrastructure, some fabrication technologies that coexist with our existing infrastructure. And silicon is one such, like we all know, right? So what better than accelerating the path to large scale quantum computing with the help of silicon based qubits? So that is one area that has gained traction in the previous year. So
Interesting. Very interesting. Um, what is the future holding in for funding activities? Where are we seeing the trends moving? Have you observed any specific interesting trends?
So yeah, two trends that I would like to highlight is first is that more than 85% of funding, it has gone into the growth stage of funding rounds, which is primarily Series A, Series B funding rounds. So that indicates that the funds are moving towards building new products, scaling new operations, some merger and acquisitions happening across the quantum area also. And the second big trend that I want to highlight is, which is of course, a very, very positive trend, which is that the quantum startups are going public. So in the US, we have already seen Rigetti Computing and IonQ merge with special purpose acquisition companies, and they are already listed on NYSE. But this is an indication, it's a serious indication that quantum companies are mature enough to attract the public investors also. And I think it makes sense, right? I mean, scaling the quantum computers requires massive capital, and giving quick access to the funding and it also gives an opportunity for the investors to cash out, right? The early investors. So I will not be surprised if we see more and more startups taking this route of getting listed.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay, very, very interesting, Arjun. So we have discussed perspectives about what are the different types of error suppression techniques and also the correction techniques, right? We have seen innovations spanning around quantum decoherence and also issues with respect to qubit overhead and crosstalk and noise. And we have seen like how companies, major players, and even early stage companies basically trying to make advancements either in the form of an innovation or like funding or investment sort of an opportunity. But it's also important to see how applications are spanning for quantum computing in the next few years. I think a lot of it revolves around the data that we're talking about. So applications like AI or financial services sector might be interesting. So I'll have Kalyani, who can talk about some of the key applications in the area, some problems which are spanning in this space, and how companies are trying to address those problems, and what sort of applications we see as potential ones emerging for quantum computing. Kalyani, please add your thoughts.
Yes, thank you, Kasturi. So, quantum computing seemed rather impossible to be real a couple of decades ago, but is now making a buzz globally. The innovation we discussed, along with the funding raised, have really scaled up the quantum computing ecosystem to gain commercial recognition. It is evident that the quantum computing will profoundly impact high performance computing, AI/ML, and cybersecurity, like you mentioned. So, when we talk about applications of quantum computing, they can be categorized based on problems they address across various industry verticals associated with the computing. That includes optimization, simulation, cybersecurity, and of course, artificial intelligence. Current classical systems or even supercomputers struggle to resolve highly complex computational problems, which can easily resolved by quantum computers, that too in a minimum amount of time and with high efficiency. HPC centers handle complex problems that require selecting the best possible solution from vast probabilities, which becomes harder as the data grows, which is currently a biggest challenge with AI making headlines all over the world. So quantum algorithms like quantum approximate optimization algorithms offer faster ways to solve these optimization challenges more efficiently than the classical methods. Based on my analysis and current developments, the adoption of quantum computing systems for AI ML has gained global recognition. Unlike classical AI, which heavily relies on conventional hardware, quantum computing can process large data sets, leading to fast processing speed and potential resolution of complex problems.
Okay, okay. So it's going to be quantum is going to be a key enabler for a lot of these AI ML applications in the future, right?
Absolutely. So moving
Okay,
on to
so
the next, that is, yes, simulation problem. So quantum
yeah,
computing's
please.
ability to simulate large complex molecules can be a game changer. So quantum computing techniques combined with advanced AI ML tools can identify new drug candidates, optimize molecular designs, streamline the drug development pipelines. With conventional methods or using a supercomputer, a drug discovery can take years and years of, process of complex computations, which can easily be done in a few minutes or few hours with a quantum computer. So that's the potential that we're talking about. So to offer insight into more futuristic approach, a full scale fault tolerant quantum computer fed with genetic information, health parameters, sensory data, and personal health information could comprehensively predict a person's future health. So that is the power of quantum computer we see in the coming next let's say 5 to 10 years. So moving on, DNA analysis for sequence alignment, genetic mutation analysis, bioinformatics, complex trait mapping, gene expression analysis, health predictions, which require usually a very high computational power and unprecedented speed, are few of the top focus areas of quantum computing in the application area. Moving on to the next category, that is optimization. It has been discussed and proven by various researchers that quantum computing is particularly useful for solving optimization problems because it can explore unique multiple possible solutions simultaneously. Due to the properties of quantum computing, that is superposition and entanglement, like you mentioned earlier, in finance, for instance, in finance, Shor's and Grover's algorithms can be used for portfolio optimization. In logistics and automotive, there are multiple companies who are, exploring applications of quantum computing into their, business processes. We have DHL, FedEx, Volkswagen, who are actively testing quantum computing for logistics optimization. DHL has even used quantum algorithms to improve their supply chain efficiency, whilst Volkswagen has implemented quantum based traffic flow optimization in urban areas.
Interesting. Thanks, Kalyani, for your insights. So we spoke about simulation, optimization, AI, and AI. Like, what about cryptography? Because I understand initiatives like quantum key distribution and hybrid cryptographic models, which are being investigated for security applications, whether it's national security or critical infrastructure and so on. So, particularly, right, quantum key distribution, personally, have come across a lot of research which talks about the usage in security applications. Do you have any perspectives in terms of the growth potential of this QKD technology?
Absolutely. So quantum computers can easily break your conventional encryption methods, which could lead to serious cybersecurity attacks. So data-centric industries, when we talk about finance, healthcare, government, military, aerospace, will require a shield to protect sensitive information from quantum attacks. Hence, the detection of cyber threats as well as building quantum resilient algorithms will be crucial in the near term. As we currently don't have a full scale applicability of any quantum computer, this particular scope is at a very early stage. Last year, JP Morgan established a high speed quantum secured crypto agile network, that is QCAN, connecting data centers, enhancing security for financial data transmissions. As Himanshu mentioned at the beginning, there are still technical challenges that we need to address for quantum computing to be applicable for real world issues. Moreover, there are other aspects to it, like regulatory frameworks, geopolitical restraints, manufacturing techniques for mass production, size of the quantum computers, lack of skill experts, and required infrastructure, which significantly impact the adoption of quantum computers for the real case scenarios. Nonetheless, it is expected that within the next 10 to 15 years, quantum computers will gain success and will be adopted across major industry verticals globally.
Interesting. So before we sort of make a conclusion as to what we see as a roadmap, that is the question which one of my colleagues would like to answer.
Yes. So I think Milan had a question about, yeah. So Milan had a question about can quantum computers help us discover materials for nuclear fission and eventually provide clean energy? I think yes, it is very much possible. Not right now, but in the future, yes. Because if we see the direction of the innovations that are happening, for example, Microsoft, it has already developed a tool called as MatterGen, which is able to develop newer materials in seconds, which would otherwise have required uh, number of years, I would say 10 to 15 years to develop those kind of materials. So that thing is already there. It is just a matter of time when we try to train these models on the existing data, the data on how nuclear fission happens, or what are the innovative materials were developed historically. So when this kind of data is fed into these such kind of quantum computers, I think it will be very much possible to develop a model to help discover such kind of novel materials. And I think MIT is already working in this direction. They are trying to sort of discover materials for developing an efficient way to do the nuclear fission reaction.
Thanks, Himanshu. So, just to talk about what's the future, like what do we see as potential opportunities? I think the near term efforts will be more geared towards improving qubit stability, focusing on error mitigation and correction technologies, and also expanding cloud based quantum services so that more enterprises can experiment with quantum algorithms. Also, what we see is the like financial modeling applications or drug discovery and communication systems will be more prominent in the near term. And over the medium term, we see that applications like quantum enhanced cryptography or breakthroughs in material science applications, real time AI and ML analytics will play an important role. Over the long term, what we can think of is more related to telecom applications or climate modeling or real-time decision making, which is used in autonomous systems, which is basically meant for redefining the computational speeds and the capacity, right, is all going to be possible with quantum computers. And all of this actually requires a strong collaboration and a very broad R&D investment and network, which also includes the promotion of open source platforms in order to advance the innovations towards realizing an error-free computer or a fault-tolerant quantum computer. So these are our perspectives collectively in terms of what we see as next leap in quantum computing. This actually formally ends the session in terms of our, the knowledge of this particular industry. If I mean, I personally thank everyone for joining this session. And if there's anything that we can answer, we're happy to do so. Thank you.